Welcome back, episode 3. Is it 3? So episode 3. This episode, we're not going to be really hitting on any specific topics. We're just going to be going over our last episode, sort of going into what we're wanting to do in the future, and sort of just free rolling it, just seeing what comes up and just see how the episode goes. So a lot more chill, relaxed sort of vibe this time around, but I hope it can still be interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. So more of a general conversation.
More of a general conversation, yeah. So
we'll start with, I think, do you want to talk about the last 2 episodes? Are we happy enough?
Yeah, so last 2 episodes, I think anyway, were pretty good. First one, obviously a bit nervous about it. Your first everything that you're throwing out there, the world, but got pretty good feedback from that.
Yeah, it's been going well, and we're actually getting followers now.
Yeah, so
likes on the videos,
likes on the videos and whatever. Like people have been following along. From what we've noticed as well, it's people that I wouldn't have really expected to even sort of be interested in it. But yeah, I had a good lot of feedback from a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, there were bits and pieces as where people were saying like what things that we could do better.
Yeah.
And obviously we take that into account. Like, it's not a bad thing.
Yeah, not a bad thing.
As I said,
actually, constructive criticism.
Yeah.
Like, the more of it we get, the better.
Yeah. At the end of like both episodes, we're just like we want you to tell us what we can do better.
Like, literally.
Because we're just thrown in here in the dark. We're just sort of just.
And obviously, all being well, as it gets better, we'll get a better place to actually film it, and we'll have better equipment, better cameras, that kind of thing. Obviously, we want that. We do want, as we grow, to kind of that quality to slowly increase. I do think what I loved about the last episode was your, panning up on us more, and
so that was one of the things that was brought up, where it was just like this sort of one angle thing was a bit sort of born, I would say. So changed that up last episode. There was a lot more like sort of panny, sort of like zooming in of the pair of us. I think that went down really well.
That as well. And when I was watching with people, some of the stuff that would come up on the TV was quite funny.
So
that was good.
Last episode we had the Pope, Taylor Swift, and
I can't remember what the first one was.
Some other bloke.
Yeah,
he was on there as well. So it's just
No, it's good. I'm liking it. I'm also liking the way we were getting messages from some people. It seems to have actually helped some people. That's what more could you really want from it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And so we put up a thing, wasn't it, a couple of days ago? We were looking at topics, asking for
So on the Instagram, So we stuck up sort of like a question, just being like any sort of topics that you want to see in the future, and we got a couple of bits of feedback there. So sort of hitting on that, because we don't really say whether or not we were going to do it or not. Yeah. We did see them. We'll have to take them into account. Not going to be hitting on this episode. Because we'll want to sort of look into it a bit more, get a better understanding, and sort of do a full episode on it where we can actually go into depth and sort of explain.
Yeah, because there was a few suggestions where like you were thinking about doing that today.
Yeah.
But I just honestly, I want to go and actually know what I'm talking about before I get into that. There's no point in us sitting here and just waffling and not actually saying anything about
what this episode
That's exactly what we're doing today. Like, I mean, that's not what we want to do when we're addressing the proper topic. So
yeah, exactly. It's all well good waffling if you're like
I think one of the suggestions was like prophecy, and I was like,
it was all one. It was spiritual gifts, and like sort of in brackets it was healing, prophecy, and speaking in tongues.
Yeah, so that's not one I'm going to just wing. I need to go actually really
very, very interesting though. I'm actually really excited to actually do that episode.
I think that'll be a good episode. I think there'll be a lot to talk about there.
Mm-hmm.
Really diving into it'll probably include theology, history of the church, everything to like try and fully get a proper grasp and understanding of just like that topic alone. You go on for ages. I can't remember what some of the other responses were, but they were pretty good.
Other one was, is it okay to simplify?
Oh, I remember hearing that one. It was
like the Bible.
Yeah.
Which maybe we could probably hint on later on. Like that's like a wee bit of a I wouldn't say an easier one, but one that like I would have a bit more understanding on. If you don't want to, then that's fair enough. Like,
Yeah.
You don't want to be prepared. So
yeah, no, it's just like, let's see. On top of that, we do as well. We have that whole list of topics.
Yeah.
So we'll go through. So I think if you can get that up, and we can start going through it, and then we'll kind of give people an idea of what we want to do in the future, where we're going with this. And also, I think as well in the future we'll start hitting on more like current event stuff and doing more like what's happening right now, what's a bit more like actually relevant. But at the minute, just because we're starting out, I think it's wise to stay away from anything that might be slightly controversial or anything like that, and just kind of keep going with like topics.
Trying to get our roots under the ground.
Yeah, so we need roots. Yeah, we need
a strong foundation.
A strong foundation. Yeah, exactly.
Build our podcast on the rock.
Yeah.
So a couple of topics we've got down here.
Some of them are wild.
Some of them are wild. So literally the first one is the Satanic Bible.
Satanic Bible, yeah.
So talking on that and what that is all about and why people are like reading it or whatever. Mega churches, which is like modern church thing we've done.
I think with charismatic churches there, but I think we've more or less kind of covered that. It doesn't mean these things won't come up again or we won't address them when we know more and we're a bit wiser and all that there.
Yeah. Testimonies.
Yeah, testimony one.
Bible interpretation, faith in the works, guest day. So that's something that we're like. I think it's going to be pretty good. I think bring someone on here, and have a chat with them. I've got a couple of people in mind.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Favorite our favorite books from the Bible: dating, tattoos, prayer, sharing the gospel, politics, that's the one that we're like the same out like way down the line. The Crusades.
The Crusades, that's one we want to do.
Alcohol and weed, sort of like that rolled into like sort of addictions.
Yeah.
Music, the devil, the Trinity, and then going into like things like star signs and witchcraft, like sort of New Age religion.
New Age religion, yeah, definitely.
And other things like Mormons and like the Mormon church, because obviously that's part of your background.
Yeah, I have a lot to say about it.
Yeah.
Nothing good.
No, so that's part of your background.
Yeah.
Which obviously you would have a lot more knowledge on that than what I would. So
there's a lot of topics I want to go through. I would also love to talk about as well a big episode on atheism, because like I was an atheist for maybe 10 years now, more or less.
Mm-hmm.
Not just atheist nihilism. Like I went into the nihilism, the moral relativism, all that kind of stuff. I know it sounds very philosophy kind of centered, but I think that's interesting. I would love to talk about that.
Yeah.
The other thing as well we want to go into is we're going to be putting up more content like shorts and stuff. So
on the TikToks.
Yeah, exactly. So I've got a few things planned. One of mine planned is what does Christianity have to offer Gen Z, and I'll be making like part 1, part 2. Gen Z. I'm going to be doing part 1, part 2 of that. I think the first part I'm going to do is it offers a better story. And I don't want to go into it now because I've got a whole thing planned.
Yeah.
I've got so much to say about that. And the kind of fight, kind of just how utterly miserable our generation is. They see it all around us. And I think that Christianity really has some answers there and good things to address that. Mm-hmm. So that'll be like, it's just one of my shorts. I don't know what you plan. I don't even know if you have planned anything quite yet.
Nothing quite yet, but something that I really want to do is a verse a day.
Yes, so we're talking about this.
Yeah, so I want to do a verse a day where I'll go through my vigorously highlighted Bible. Just pick one of those out of somewhere and just read the verse out and have like a wee bit of an explanation, sort of a background on it. Nothing too in depth. Just sort of like a wee quick short, 30 seconds to a minute max is what I'm looking. So that'll be on the TikToks and the Instagrams and stuff on the net.
And then we kind of want to get to the point where we have a more consistent schedule and plan in terms of when the video is actually going up. And also, even with the shorts and stuff, it would be nice if we know me and you to do it 1 or 2 a week each or something. I don't know how we'll work it out, but it'd be good to kind of get that kind of consistency out of us, which is of course hard to do when you're just starting out and you're all over the place. But we'll try our bit.
I think with the shorts, maybe shorts doesn't maybe not needed to be as scheduled.
I suppose
it's more of the podcast that we're going to have to sort of like keep that
needs to be nailed.
Like it's the same day, roughly around the same time, sort of like whatever. But that comes down to our awful planning. Just like we'll wing it and be like, "You free that day?" It's like, okay, right.
I always say, "Are you free this day? When can we do it?" And then it always ends up being Friday.
Yeah,
at this time.
Yeah.
So I don't even know why we're bothered with the planet. It was just I think it's just episode 2 was off in terms of. Oh, is this because I was sick? Sure.
That's because you were being a gurn. It's like, I was never awake. But so there was so much wrong with that episode. Like, well, not the episode itself, but like the actual sort of producing it. It was late to recording. I went out one night. I forget what I was doing. Came back and I was just like, right, I'm gonna smash through this. Spent a couple of hours. I think I went to bed at like 2 a.m. And I was so excited to get this uploaded, and then for some reason, like, it was only uploading half of the video, so I had to go back, like, completely remove it, re-export it and everything, and, like...
I didn't know.
So I had to, like, re-export it and everything, so that took them, like, another, basically half a day, because I had to export it whenever I was at work, came back from work, and then I had to, like, re-upload it all again, and eventually it worked, so I was like, yes.
Yeah.
So that's why the second episode, whatever, even though I had a short up saying like, oh yeah, it's gonna be up here tomorrow about lunchtime. That's why it was late and it wasn't up lunchtime, because it was an absolute shambles.
But you live and you learn. And also we were aware that the audio was weird.
It was a bit quiet last episode. That's my idea, to be fair.
Yeah, so we just need to fix it. It's just the kind of learning curve of the whole thing. The thing is, I'm not doing any of the editing and stuff. Like, that's all Daniel. I just show up.
You sort yourself out.
I don't know. Like, I don't know the first thing about how to do all that. But no, we're getting there. I think we're finding a grind and starting to kind of push forward. It's good to have a plan. It's good to have ideas. I mean, with too many ideas, that's probably a problem.
Rather have too many than too little.
Yeah, I know. But
we're going to sort of pick and choose between them.
I know. And then every week it's a debate about which one we're going to be doing.
Yeah.
But now we've got stuff from the Instagram, so we know what people are wanting to see and hear about. So,
yeah.
Getting there. Doing well.
Yeah. Wait, I got something. One second.
Oh dear, what's this going to be?
Oh, right.
I'm really worried about that.
Right. So,
okay.
It's coming up with Christmas.
Yeah, it is.
I was feeling generous.
Okay.
I bought you a gift.
A gift?
Yes.
Okay.
Easy.
I'm worried, like, who knows what this is going to be. Beautiful. You need to get one for our Christmas episode.
Yeah, I'll wear it. I'll wear my gift I bought you.
Well, for the rest of the episode?
Yeah.
I'll do it.
Any better? That cost me a fortune. That was a full quid.
Where are you getting Christmas stuff at this time of year?
Every shop has Christmas stuff.
No, we'll see.
Yes.
Glorious.
Yes.
See. Well, wasn't expecting that. I was really worried about this one.
Yeah, it could have been worse.
Could have been worse.
I went easy on
you. Yeah. That's another thing, segment. So should we talk about that while I'm looking ridiculous? Like the segment plans we have?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we've a few different ones in mind. We're thinking it'd be funny if, like, we have to do, you know, like, kind of like silly mini game things.
Yeah.
And then if you lose, you have to do something silly on the next episode.
Yeah. A forfeit.
Forfeit, yeah. You know, like, come dressed in, like, as a full character from something. Something absolutely ridiculous, full makeup. You know?
Yeah.
Think what was a few of the segments we had planned? So there was I think it was the Charlie segment. We had an idea where you just basically let me rant.
Yeah,
instance,
so
because I'm known for my rants, right?
Yeah.
I can go on and on.
Yeah. It's basically an episode where like Charlie just goes off and talks rubbish for a solid episode, and I just basically like shit down everything he's saying, which is like a continuous thing that just carries on.
Yeah, that'd be really fun.
I think we should literally just have one like camera guy just follow us around for a day, because the amount of dribble that you talk sometimes is unbelievable.
I'm not worried about how much of that would be dead at the night though. That's in my head.
Swearing on the podcast.
You're editing that out. You're editing it out.
This is gonna be a wee short.
You're gonna put this in a short and be going, edit that out, edit it out. Don't want it in there, don't get rid of it. Let's see. I told you as well.
Of course it is. That's why I said have a bit of a plan. There was one thing last episode, there was a comment underneath it from a friend of mine. He was sort of explaining, I don't know if you saw it or not, but he was going into the episode, basically what he took from it, sort of giving us a bit more of advice, sort of educating us in a way, I guess, in the regards of what you mentioned about the Pope being the Antichrist.
Well, I didn't say that. Someone told me that they heard that in the church.
Yeah, so what he was saying was, it's not as far fetched as you think, because there is actual sort of like reasoning for it. Can't remember completely off the top of my head. I was like around it, but if you actually have a wee read through that in the comment, if anyone's interested.
Well, there's a good idea for a section. As we get a bit more of a follow and you get more comments, we do like reading the comments out stuff, like and answering questions. Or hopefully when we start getting really funny hate comments, we can just talk those through as well.
Why even bring that into the atmosphere? Like,
that'd be fun.
I don't want hate comments.
Everyone wants to read their hate comments. That's a really good segment.
No.
That's a good YouTube segment.
No.
Absolutely. Okay. Well, no. Yeah. Well, I suppose we could do more like addressing stuff like that. I suppose.
Yeah.
Unless you want to do that now.
Well, I guess I could read it like that. We sort of part of it anyway, at least the bottom of it, because it's sort of the more.
Well, let's do that. I mean, while the comments are going to be smaller and we can actually address them one by one.
Oh, this wasn't a small comment.
Oh, well, I mean, like, there's not as many of them quantity in terms of that. Okay. I'm gonna look so serious answering this question here today.
You look like a mug.
I am at my theologically most sound, clearly.
Also, for your information, the Pope is the Antichrist, in quotes. That thing comes from Westminster Confession of Faith. Most Presbyterian churches subscribe to that as their doctrine. What they call a subordinate standard. The authority of the Bible is what they hold to first, and then Westminster Confession, as long as it doesn't contradict the Bible.
Mm-hmm.
All Presbyterian ministers and elders are expected to read and subscribe to this individually, and while the majority of the confession is incredibly sound teaching and well worth trying to get your head around it as an understanding, whatever denomination that you're in, it does contain some elements that haven't aged well or require further explanation.
Mm.
And that goes on to like further on, but it's interesting to read that. I went off and then sort of had a long wee look at that as well. So, Chris, thank you for putting that in. That was actually really helpful, and I appreciate that. Because obviously we want to learn more. From this podcast too. Yeah. A lot, and I want to put out there as well. Like a lot of this podcast is sort of what our knowledge is at the moment.
Well, it is, yeah, and we're going to stumble over on certain things. I still don't retract at all anything I said before about that being a ridiculous thing to say, unfortunately. But
yeah, it does sound a bit mad, but yeah. So a lot of this podcast is sort of like what our understanding is of it. Doesn't necessarily mean that it's 100% perfectly right.
Yeah, I'm not.
There is going to be certain things.
I'm not speaking for anyone other than me. Like,
yeah, there is certain other things where we're probably going to slip up and say something a bit wrong, but that's again where we're wanting you to come in and be like, well,
that's the thing. We need to hear criticism, like as productive as it could be. Yeah, but again,
there is certain topics where you're just like, no, that is right.
Well, for me,
there are topics where it's 100%. Like,
everyone who knows me knows I'm very opinionated about everything, and I have to say, when it comes to something like that, wouldn't matter what it was, I'm not changing my opinion. But yeah, because my issue with that is you're dividing, and that's not.
Yeah, so that was the thing that was brought up where he was saying it in the comment. He was just like, it's not only those churches though that are dividing. Like
so
as
like,
much as
it's not just like the bigger ones.
Yes, exactly. So as much as like those churches and whatever are like a big culprit, it does happen as well in like smaller sort of churches and whatever. The which I was just like, do you know what? Fair point.
No, that's a fair point actually.
And what sort of my thought on it was, we weren't really saying that it is only these churches. Yeah. So something that we missed out on, maybe something that we should have added in as well. But I guess whenever you're sitting here to sort of having a conversation, that is to sort of, we're not trying to hit off the tick sheet.
It's like you're not on the tick sheet, and you're just kind of. I was more ranting more than anything else, and just getting annoyed about the things that really wind me up about the whole thing. Yeah, but that's good because if we get more stuff like that actually makes for interesting engagement and stuff.
Yeah.
So I would encourage the people who are watching, drop comments down, even if it's just to say I look like an idiot. Just do it, because
with or without the camera,
both. I don't know. So yeah, it would be good because the more engagement we get, the more kind of interesting conversations we can get out of it. Like that was good. That was interesting.
Yeah, it was very good.
And I love a good debate anyway.
You do.
So
even when you're wrong.
Yeah. No. That's good stuff. So what is have we any goals then in terms of like how many episodes we want to make sure we hit and stuff like that? I mean,
I saw a pretty cool TikTok yesterday. Was it yesterday? I don't know. And it said 90% of podcasts don't reach episode 3. Right? So we're doing all right for ourselves.
We're doing all right.
And then it was something after that where it was like only 20% or something like that of podcasts after that reached 20 episodes or something.
Right.
So a good goal would be just to like just stick at it, I guess.
Just stick at it.
And I'm not really sort of looking for any sort of specific.
So roll on to episode 20.
Yeah, so I'm not sort of looking at any sort of number where I want to hit or anything like that, or just like, oh, I want this many sort of people subscribe or whatever. That's not what I'm really interested in. I'm just interested in putting on this podcast. Saying what we'll have to say or whatever, trying to keep things entertaining, trying to spread the gospel, trying to like share the Bible as many people as we can, especially throughout the younger generations that are going to be listening to podcasts. And I think that was what our main aim was.
No, well, that is the aim. It's because like it's to make it something that, you know, people our age can relate with, can engage with.
Because I think it's a really good thing in terms of someone is probably more likely to click onto a podcast whenever they're sitting flicking through Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, or whatever. They're more likely to click onto that and just being like out of general interest than they are just going to wake up one morning and being like, I'm going to go to church.
I'm going to go to church. Yes, it's very.
So I think that was probably one of the main things that was in my head anyway. That was the whole reason why we started the podcast.
Yeah. And that was the overarching goal. Being consistent. And that's one thing that really surprised me is the amount of people who aren't Christians that have been following and watching it and giving us feedback. It's kind of, that's good. I'm happy to see that. It's actually kind of what you get up for.
Yeah.
And then it's, you know, that's why I'm looking forward to having them on the podcast. Having
who?
Just, you know.
Them?
Yeah. People
I'm sure we'll have them on the podcast. Whoever them are.
Well, not name dropping.
Oh, fair enough. You just say friends, like family. Like I wasn't looking for specific names, even though I know who they are anyway.
No, I'm looking forward to all that and the interesting discussions on that. We'll get out of it.
Yeah. No, I actually like to sort of get into like the reason why we started the podcast. And it was sort of a really spontaneous, out of the blue sort of thought that I just sent you a message that's like, let's do a podcast. And you're like, no, bad idea. And I was like, no, hold on a second. Like, give me a minute to explain myself. And sort of explain the dynamic and like sort of what it was going to be on, then you were sort of down for it. And like, because if it was just sort of us having a podcast or doing whatever, it probably wouldn't. It wouldn't go down too well. But yeah, I was just sitting here one day and I was like, yeah, just pure tism brain, like podcast, yeah, brilliant, let's do that. And I just threw myself into everything. So podcast, told you about it, and I was just like happy days. And then in the space of like an hour, where it's like podcast, yes, what's the name? That, which biblical banter podcast was like one of many ridiculous names that we had. And we're just like, we like for starters didn't really even think that this was going to be a massive class name. We're just sort of like, yeah, this is funny.
Yeah, and I think originally as well it was going to be way funnier.
Oh, it was going to be ridiculous.
We had practically just planned comedy sketches for the entirety of each episode. Like, like the whole, I remember the first time we even talked about it was just all going to be really ridiculous stuff.
Yeah, I still want to go down that route. So
I do want to make it more lighthearted and funnier. I do want to bring humour into it.
You're going to find like a couple of dopey like sort of bits, like skits in the episodes, which I'm really looking forward to.
Yeah,
because I had some ridiculous ideas. Some ridiculous ideas.
Some that require a trip to IKEA to buy things.
Yeah,
like it was ridiculous. Some of the stuff we had to do. No, I think we should start getting into the humoury bit and a bit more fun into it.
I think on top of that, I'm glad that we didn't really start off with that. Then that's sort of like setting a tone for it's just like, oh, we're just sort of messing around or whatever. I think the way that our first 2 episodes have went has really opened up the podcast in terms of what they expect. And I think those sort of skits and whatever are like a nice added sort of bit of seasoning to an episode. And doesn't really, you're not going to get bored of it. You're not sort of like having to set a new standard or like up the standard each episode because you're just like, oh, we've done that. And you're like wrecking your brains of like, oh, well, what's the funny bit that we're going to be doing?
And then it would just get a bit ridiculous.
So then it's just going to be chucked in and not like here.
Use the humour and the comedy sketches as a bit of flair, bit of seasoning. No, I'm looking forward to that. Really, so I don't want to say, obviously, don't want to say what the sketches are because I'll ruin it. But like they are ridiculous. Like I'm looking forward to doing them. No, I'm excited for it. I'm excited for all those different things. So we've got a future plan. We've got our current goal about 20 episodes. Then, well, it's a goal.
That'll be the goal. So we're looking at about an episode a week.
An episode a week. So
we're wanting to hit an episode a week. Which how many weeks is up until the end of this year? You know, off the top of your head, you're the math guy. Like I'm dumb. Let's get out.
Bubbles. I think it's 6.
You've done like
7
additional miles and all.
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
That's weird.
7. I'm gonna say 7. 7's a biblical number. What?
Is it?
Yeah.
So 7, like I'm actually gonna look it up now just to like so I can mug you off. Because that's just my part-time job. I don't know. 7, right? So with 7 more, but that's excluding this episode. So 8. So you were wrong. Unlucky punk. Yeah.
As well as.
Yeah. So I wanna I had a thought earlier about like a Christmas episode.
Yeah, we were talking about that.
Yeah.
I think it's a good idea.
Yeah, it's have like a full like Christmas episode. Or it comes out Christmas Day.
Yeah.
Even though people will be busy, but that's just gonna be like the thing.
Yeah, you just have to have it come up on Christmas Day.
Yeah.
Or even Christmas Eve. Alright, Christmas Day.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Christmas Day, I will have like a thing where it's like, stop tapping your feet. You don't mind the editing I have to do to take that stuff out.
Although that's what I think that's what the problem from the microphone. It's really, really, it picks up everything. Yeah, and I keep tapping my feet and he has to keep resting. Sorry. That's what it is.
got enough for it as it is.
Right, so we've got a Christmas episode planned. We want to do at least the first goal is 20 episodes. We want to have guests on. We've got our topics. We've got stuff from the Instagram page.
Yeah.
People would send in the responses, and then we'll have comments. We can read out. So, overall, ball is moving. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Don't know if it's going forward or sideways, but it's going somewhere.
Horizontal.
Yeah, it's going someplace.
Yeah.
It's just sort of it's on its own. You just sort of rolled it down a hill. It's got its own wee sort of road that it's going to take. But yeah, I had something in my mind, and what was it? Next episode, what we're thinking.
What we're thinking.
Like the Q&A, sort of like the answer the question from the Instagram of it.
I think we should add that in as a segment in the episode.
Right.
So have that kind of like, we do that at like the end of each episode and we take some Q&A.
No, as in like the Instagram question that you're avoiding because you're scared of it.
Which one?
The one about spiritual gifts.
Spiritual gifts. Do you know what? We'll do that then because that's probably
so one on spiritual gifts next week.
Spiritual gifts, yeah. Prophecy, spiritual gifts.
Yes.
That'll be in.
Juicy.
And I've got a feeling me and you have very different opinions.
Juicy. But
so
that's usually right and yours is wrong. So
we'll see. Yeah,
it's usually been the way like this entire time. It has been. Whenever you're like full blown Mormon.
Either way. Back when I was like,
you're just like, man, but the Mormons are right. And you're like, all right.
Yeah, I do want to do a video on the Mormons. So basically, I was in the Mormon church, which is a cult, by the way. Since I was about 9, I was about 12, 13 or something.
Why are you asking me these questions? You asked me a question last episode, like how long was I Christian?
Because I tell you lots of things.
How long was I Christian?
Anyway, the point is,
why am I not to know? It's not my life.
After that, that's enough to put.
I was in the Mormon church whenever I was 9. I don't know.
Point is, I was in that. It's a complete cult, and it was enough to put me off religion for the rest of my life. And
well, that's a lie because it didn't put you off religion for the rest of your life, did it?
Well, no.
Well then.
But there's a lot to go into with that because it led me into atheism, it led me into nihilism and just despair.
Yeah.
And then eventually I pretty much completely just became more agnostic by the end. But I don't even know what caused that. I was probably reading philosophers and all and getting into Jung and stuff like that, you know.
Jordan Peterson.
In fact, I met him. Which was pretty cool. Met him a few weeks
for
ago.
a fair price.
It was a fair price, but it was worth it. Like he was so dead on. I'd love to talk about that too.
I'm gonna stick a photo up of how like happy you are and how like disappointed and upset he is.
It's because whenever I met him, I said hello to him 3 times in a row.
Yeah, it's gonna be up on that TV.
That's what I'm saying. I just want to see it pop up. I know. No, I met Jordan Peterson. He's absolutely brilliant. He's fantastic. I couldn't recommend him enough to anyone anyway because like he shows you like. His biblical series is amazing. Like you should watch it. It's fantastic, and it introduced me to the Bible in a different way. And he is more on the atheist side. It pretty much is an atheist, I think. And so the way he introduces the Bible and explains it with very psychological terms with unions, archetypes and stuff like that. That's not how I read the Bible now anymore. But. It was an absolute.
It's an interesting thing to look at if you're already a Christian, I'd say.
Oh, and if you're not a Christian,
I wouldn't go near.
Really, if you're not a Christian,
I don't think so.
Well, for me, it was life changing.
Yeah, I know, but your brain is just like up the left, like you're a Christian now, but like you'll look into like Catholicism or like whatever, and you're just like, well,
it's called looking at everything.
Yeah, but there is only one way.
See, that's another episode we need to do.
Yeah, I'm poking buttons here on purpose to see your reaction.
The full Orthodox Catholic Protestant and do a whole video on the whole thing. I would love to do that.
Yeah.
But I feel like it would just end up with you arguing with me the whole time.
Yeah, that'll just be like.
And there's a brilliant idea.
Episode 20, arguments.
Yeah. Arguments.
What are we called?
Well, anyway, the point of that speech was to say that it'd be an interesting video to do on the Mormon stuff because Mormonism as well is a complete. It's a virus on the gospel. Like
what's a virus? I wasn't listening.
Mormons. They steal the gospel, they twist it, and it's wild. Like some of the stuff that they believe, it's crazy. So I would love
great South Park episode.
Yeah, and that's actually quite funny. And the South Park did an episode on them, and it's so accurate. I couldn't even begin to praise it enough. Well, it's brilliant. You should look it up. Yeah. But yeah, so then of course then I would love to do a video on like the different theologies, the Protestants, Catholics, and the Orthodox. That'd be really good. That one will be a good argument one between me and you. I think that will generate a lot of content anyway.
Yeah.
Probably every single time I speak, it'll be okay. We need to argue about that for 5 minutes.
That'll be a long episode. That's like a 24-hour job because like you're sort of sitting here.
Well, why don't we do?
You'll just gradually see.
Well, why don't we split it up in between? Like, say we could do Catholics versus Orthodox theology, and then we could do the Catholics versus the Protestant one, and then the Orthodox versus the Protestant one, and then we could have like an actual like. So like each episode, we really have a look at the differences between all of them, and yeah, I think that would be good.
Yeah, it could be good.
That'd be good. It'd be interesting. Because that's what I've been trying to say, and was trying to say in the last episode. It doesn't matter which one of the three you are; it's all Christian. So I would love to talk about it and have a good conversation. See, he doesn't even agree. Whereas, but I want to talk about it. I think it's an idea. So. Yeah, so that's definitely something we can do.
Oh, yeah.
We should do one on cults in general, though. I think
cults?
Yeah.
Right, that goes down a dark path.
Well, I suppose. But...
You do an episode on some eyelash at me. You do one like the holidays.
What do you mean?
Like Christmas. And what it was.
Christmas episode, man?
Yeah, so like where it originated from. That's the Christmas episode. Like where it originated from, what it's about, and all that.
For that episode, we need to like overdo it with the decorations. Like.
Oh, yeah.
Awesome. Yeah.
No tinsel though, that's weird. Don't like it.
What's wrong with tinsel?
Don't like it. It's cheesy, it's tacky. I hate tinsel, that's my opinion. Like, just no. It's like, go away. It's such like a useless, like, sort of, what do you even call
it? It's shiny and Christmassy. We're putting it all over the place.
No.
Well, at least have like mini Christmas trees or something. We decorations. I think we're in.
A little tree air freshener.
And hymns in the background constantly.
No.
Yeah.
No. You don't edit it.
I don't care.
You just come up with these ideas and you're just like, oh, it's going to be fast. Just expect me to pull some absolute wizardry out my arse.
Fair enough.
I have a job to do. You don't do it. You like work for 5 minutes and take a break for an hour.
I wind you up enough to produce content.
Oh, well, that's alright. Well,
that will become more apparent.
See whenever we get those theology episodes, that's you doing the winding up. I'll push your buttons right.
I'll push my buttons
I can push your buttons all the time.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter what it is. You're easy to wind up.
Mm-hmm.
Like we wind up too. You see to see you go.
Yeah, it doesn't take much. But that's why I won't have that segment where I just rant away about something that really winds me up.
Like a Beyblade?
Yeah. What?
Like a Beyblade?
Beyblade?
You know, like you just rip it, it's like these things that spin the fight each other. Just like sort of pull it. You see him like going like vigorously around this wee arena trying to like fight things that aren't there.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm quite excited about the future. I think we've actually come up with some pretty interesting ideas here.
Yeah, well, I'll have to look back because I just had a brain fart and I can't remember all that we just done in the past 5 minutes.
Brilliant. Well, shall we wrap it up there then?
Yeah, I think so. You can wrap it up. I wrap it up every episode, so you do it for a change.
Fair enough.
I've done all the work in this on this podcast.
I haven't done all the work,
like,
and I'm going to be just shorts soon and stuff.
All of it.
Listen, I provide.
It's my home, my lights, my editing skills.
It's my time.
It is my time. It's a good song. Don't listen to it. Yeah. I've done all the shorts since then. I'm all the... Nah, not getting into that.
No, I'm not.
Thank you about it.
Alright, well, we'll wrap it up there.
Whenever that camera goes off, you're getting it.
Right, we'll wrap it up there. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next week with an episode on prophecy and spiritual gifts.
So you didn't even do that, right? And then you finish off with the usual stuff like, please
like and subscribe and do this.
Yeah.
No, I say unsubscribe, unlike, and leave a hate comment. That's where it should end. I should just cut right there.
yeah, that's where we're going to cut to. Whenever I was like, yeah, so like, you should just cut right there. Yeah. Like, that's what I'm going to call it. Like, where just like just finished off there. So when like what's going to cut off is like,
is it done? Is this over?
No, it's like this. No, this. What's going on? Wait, that's just done there. Okay. So that's what I'm doing. Let's just sit there like a stupid wee ramble where it's just like.